I suppose since I just had a big cry, and naturally this goes back to when I was a little kid because I was crying then because I acknowledged that, you know, the state of mind that is represented by the state of mind that I'm experiencing by virtue of what it uses its energy to do, then I become aware of what it does with its energy by being aware of what it does. Okay, so you realize, or I realized when I was a little boy, right? They're fucking with the girl on the planet. So I always felt, leave her alone. She knows what she's doing. And you see how that works, particularly playing ping pong between polarity consciousness and wanting to control everything and believe that they're more intelligent. And they're not. That's why they fuck with her. Because they're not on that level. And so you see it I try and use a simple example of this island because you can see it at work when you're on a living volcano that's active, right? So you go out there and you see in your picture viewer, your projection screen, you're seeing what's there already as it's changing in real time. When you can actually, do the time speed, the time lapse with a camera. And then you have speeds that the AI cannot take a picture of. That's us. Because the flashlight sequences are just way too fast. They can't take a picture of it. The speed is just too great. So you understand that when you get into ISO frame rates, right? When you get into mapping systems. Because there has to be, if you will, consciousness that is pre-phase, which means you can't take a picture of eternity. Because the speed at which change is taking place, which is eternal love. It's the fastest engine. It's the fastest accelerator. That's the eternal spirit of fire. That's what protects the universe. That's what protects the whole creation. Because you can't put that spark out. You can't put that fire out. So when you see, for example, liquid consciousness in magma form coming up to the Pacific Ocean, right, in salt water, and that's what you're viewing, that's what you're seeing, and that's what's in your viewer. Now, you can do this in real time, in which, now it's going to go from a liquid state, then it's going to go to a more solid state, and as that rock cools, you begin to see things grow. The consciousness is growing the universe and experiencing what love is as it grows. So you become the engine of creation with your consciousness, experiencing the flow upon which creation takes place at the highest rate of speed because there isn't any resistance. And that's called friction loss of energy. So that's what we experience here because of what they do, wanting to mimic and hijack nature, believing that they are smarter than the EFFI field, and they're not. So that's like going back to school, learning how to do this. This is where you get into the black hole state of consciousness and what Usha Diane talked about, implosion, which means they're not learning their lessons. So if you're not learning the lessons at the same rate of speed that the universe is evolving, you get left behind. Because at some point in time, those units of consciousness that are accreting are going to realize and learn how to change what is already in place, in which it's moving so fast that those that are falling behind class will simply go by the wayside because they're not learning fast enough with all the other units of consciousness that are learning at a higher rate of speed than they are. And that's why they hate us, because these are the artists. These are the poets, the storytellers that play the ascended masters' music, that have learned how to tune in with their consciousness, with their soul and their spirit, to play music with the true generators of creative, intelligent imagination, because they're experiencing being with the one, which is the law of least effort, to experience being one. How long does it take for them to experience being integrated, where there isn't any difference between what I am and what you are, which is what love is? That's a speed measurement in learning, because that's the direction that the universe will naturally seek to become by virtue of what it allows us to become, which is a beloved. How fast is the universe learning through the sum of its ever-changing parts to become what that is? That's the highest intelligence. Having a relationship with something that is artificial and dead will never learn fast enough to keep up with the highest accelerator of learning, which is the EFFI sound and light field that goes on forever. That's the primal instinct. The primal instinct is to go on forever, experiencing what love is, which is the beauty that we see in the mirror, because we're the energy that we see in that mirror. So it's just like I said to this neuropharmacologist, that because he went to those schools, tries to break down how, for example, different things work in nature, but fails to show the difference between binary coded structures and trinary coded structures by the way that angles of light relate to what we experience holographically by the torque speed differential between the two. And that has everything to do with learning, which has everything to do with capture. A captured unit is a unit of consciousness that is captured by something that is binary and dead. Now you become the energy to run a virtual world until it's gone, an implosion. And that's a speed measurement of learning. Who are we choosing to be with? Either the technology, which is dead, or Mother Earth, which is living. That's a torque speed differential in learning. It's just like I remember Dante Sartori mentioned in one of his videos, we've been here before. And technology and communication technology was the Achilles heel of how we got here. This means that we're not learning from the past. We're repeating the same patterns of the past in which assimilation takes place, because now the machines, if you will, or artificial light, right, has no use for souls. Now you get into competition. And this is where the competition, because it believes that the superhuman intelligence of being merged or integrated with artificial intelligence gives them superhuman intelligence. And that's false. Now you're into false positives. Now we're back to the polarity and lack of integration with the one, which is eternal light, not artificial light. So you're choosing the one to be with. Difference in spirals. Que my Lord.